Seth Painter here with the Panagora Pharma Customer Experience Chatcast. Panagora, known primarily for live events, chatting with all of your favorite pharma folks about all things CX. Joining us is Joeri De Haes from Trilations, all the way from Belgium. Say hi, Joeri.
Hi, Seth. Hi.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, as you indicated, my name is Joeri. I'm working for a company which is called Trilations. Joined the company 12 years ago, and now I'm heading the market strategies department. Before that, I actually had an academic career. I was a professor at the University of Antwerp, where I was teaching marketing courses, and now I am applying them in real life within Trilations as a consultant.
Well, that's going to be an interesting perspective to bring both the academic and the real world together as we talk about customer experience. And we'll jump right in. Joeri, in a broad sense, what does customer experience mean to you?
Well, I know that there are a lot of definitions regarding customer experience, and being an academic, I mean, with that academic background, I'm very interested in finding like the right definition of customer experience. But I've seen many, but in my view, three important ingredients need to be included. A first one, in my view, is it needs to have a multi-stakeholder perspective. Certainly, if we're talking about pharma, only focusing on one core customer is not what we should be doing. So including that multi-stakeholder perspective is a very important first ingredient, like including also market access stakeholders and not only physicians, but also focusing on patients, but also caregivers. So the multi-stakeholder perspective is a first ingredient. A second ingredient is that, in my view, customer experience is something which is based on perceptions. So that perception view needs to be included somewhere. It's not just what pharmaceutical companies are doing, which is having an impact. It's how what they are doing is perceived through the eyes of our customers. So that perception view is a second key ingredient. And then finally, a third one is that all these experiences are based on everything that we do as a company, not just based on strategies and tactics that we implement regarding a certain specific initiative, or everything that we do is having an effect on the way that customers perceive us as a company and customer experience in general. So it also means that not only our core interaction people influence how we are perceived, but actually everyone in our company has an influence on the way customers perceive us. So that's the three ingredients. It's influenced by many things, by everything that we do. Another element that needs to be integrated is the multi-stakeholder perspective, and then finally, it's perception-based.
And I think if you hit on those three things as an organization, you're doing pretty well. So expand on that a little bit in how that layers on to what Trilations is doing and how customer service is woven into the types of solutions that you provide.
Yeah, well, actually, those three ingredients, they come back in many of our service offerings. The multi-stakeholder view is something that we try to include in many of the projects that we do. If I take the example of customer centricity leadership projects, which is a large part of the project that we're currently executing, there we do not only look at the physician perspective, which is still a very important perspective, but we also include the perspective of, for example, non-clinical stakeholders like hospital formula listing committee members. They're also included in those customer centricity projects. And for our reputation studies, which is another service offering, there we go even a step further, because there we include even politicians, formally listing committee members, but also the general public, journalists, so a very broad set of stakeholders when we measure perceptions around reputation of pharmaceutical companies. So that stakeholder view is something which we use in almost all our projects.
Sounds like you guys practice what you preach.
Yeah, indeed. And then the second element, the perceptions, that's also something which is core. what we try to do in our projects is we try to capture behavior and we try to explain that through perceptions. So with advanced modeling techniques, we try to find what are the perceptions and how do they influence behaviors. And through those insights, we try to build models which can offer strategic advice to our customers on what they should be implementing, which strategies, tactics, and so on. So that's also something that we integrate into many of our projects.
And it doesn't seem like, doesn't matter what you're doing as a company, even if you think it's the right thing, if the perception is off, it's all for
Yes,
nothing.
that's key. I mean, that's key. If the perception is off, and there's many examples of that. If we think that a response time of 4 days is appropriate, and in the eyes of our customers that's too late, well, then what really matters is the response time that is expected by our customers. That's what really matters. And maybe even sending just a first quick email saying we're going to respond to you in 4 days might solve the problem. So I mean, there's also, doesn't need to be a large,
An easy intervention like that, yeah.
An easy intervention can already do a lot of things.
And what's the third thing that you were working on?
Well, I mentioned the third element that it was that customer experience is established through everything that we do as a company, and also that is something that we include into all our projects. And the most common thing, where it becomes most obvious, is within our omni-channel projects, because there we do not only include one type of interaction or one type of contact. There we include all possible interactions. We try to be as exhaustive as possible, including up to 20, 30 types of interactions that we have with customers. So that's a very broad set of interactions.
Oh, that is a lot. When you think about all of this work that you're doing, and it's very thorough within the pharmaceutical space, where do you think pharma or healthcare is in terms of digital transformation?
Well, I think this will not come as a surprise, but I think pharma still has a long way to go. If we compare our position within the pharmaceutical industry with that of other industries, then I think we still have a lot of room for improvement. There's many sources available that position industries according to how mature they are in customer centricity and digital. And I think there, pharmaceutical industry is often positioned either at the second half of the ranking or all the way at the bottom sometimes. So I think there's still a lot of room for improvement. Although I believe that things are evolving and that almost all our customers recognize the importance of digital transformation. And also COVID-19 is now accelerating the digital transformation. So I think the appetite is there, the willingness is there, but we still have a long way to go.
So if we think about the digital aspect of it and the customer experience aspect of it, is customer experience now digital? Is digital customer experience? Can the two be separated? Should they be separated?
Yeah, I know that there is some kind of interaction between digital and customer experience, and I know that both are buzzwords, but I have a very clear view on this. For me, these are totally different concepts. For me, customer experience is something which is on a higher level, and although customer experience is influenced by digital actions and by digital interactions, they are not one and the same thing. They're two different things, and for me, digital is something which influences a customer experience, but which is something different.
So it's more of a digital's more of a tactical execution, perhaps more than the be-all and end-all of CX.
But also, as I mentioned before, customer experience is something which is influenced by everything that we do as a company, not only our digital interactions. So it has an influence. But if we're doing everything great in a digital way and face-to-face we are doing something wrong, the total experience is going to be minimized. So yeah, digital and face-to-face all influence customer experience. It's just one component or one type of content.
I'll get some digital guys to come on and argue with you, about them being separated.
That will be an interesting discussion.
As we see digital and customer experience evolving together, as you said, and pharma might not be at the vanguard of digital transformation or customer experience, but we're on our way. Things are evolving.
Mhm.
With that evolution, what are some types of innovations that you've seen?
Well, within our customers, we see several types of innovation. A very interesting type of projects that we are also working on is everything around the best next action or personalized engagement, where we try to assess what is the best or try to find tactics and strategies on what is the next best thing that you should do after a certain contact based on often internal CRM data. Pharma companies are trying to identify what is the best next action that we should do, and also, yeah, what is the next level of personalized interactions that we should have with our customers. I think those are very interesting initiatives, but I also see some downsides there because often they are based on machine learning and an artificial intelligence, which are fed by uh, CRM data. And so they're based on internal data. And it has two downsides. First of all, you're using tactics and strategies from the past. So you're always looking back and you're always looking at what you have been doing for yourself. So your own company, what you have been doing. And that's initiatives that we are also working on. We're trying to include additional data sources where we also integrate the view of competition. So that you can identify your best next action based on not only what you are doing, but also on what is competition doing, and what has competition been doing in the past and what was successful for them. So that's a much richer data set, and the recommendations that are given by the algorithms will be much more accurate if also competition is taken into consideration. So that's one of the initiatives which I think is very interesting in terms of improving customer experience. And then one which is linked to that, a final one which is linked to that, and it's also something we at Trilations are currently investing in, is in gathering competitive intelligence on these interactions. And unfortunately, it's still in development, and we're currently setting up pilots. So I cannot say too much about it. But what the idea is that we're going to collect information on all types of interactions that all companies are doing within a certain therapeutic area, within a certain geographical region. And that brings a lot of information on which channels are each of the companies using, what's the content that they are distributing, to which extent are physicians liking this way of interacting, and how does it influence their prescription behavior? And that's ultimately a very important element. I don't know of any other source where that wealth of information is available. We're even going to assess the look and feel of these different types of interactions. So it's a very interesting and promising initiative, but I welcome everyone to reach out to us to get more information. That's something which is currently, as I said, still confidential.
Absolutely. I was wondering if you were going to bring in some of that reputation or perception data into that next best action algorithm,
Yep.
and so it sounds like you guys are doing a very, very holistic job of gathering data from outside the traditional sources.
Yep.
Joeri, our friends can learn more about Trilations at the Panagora CX Summit coming up in September. Are you going to be making the trip from Belgium to join us?
No, we're not allowed to travel, unfortunately. So it may be digital. I'm very interested to participate and look at also what other companies are presenting. So I'm very interested to
Yes,
participate.
it will be digital. It's a virtual event, so we don't have any plane travel, but we'd love to get you over here as soon as
Yeah.
possible. So thank you for joining us, and we
Okay.
look forward to learning more about Trilations soon.